like a some club or something?
It's a club. It's like a God, it's an exclusive event. Like they do it once a month, and I think it's at a different place every month. And I just happened to know somebody that was able to get us for free. So
and so Zeno acting like he's really old. I mean, he's much younger than me. He'll always will be. Send me a photo. I don't know if I'm gonna make it tomorrow. In the by the way, we're recording at noon, so it was. That reminds me of one time my boy put on Facebook. It's like, man, you're ending the night, you know, because he'd gone out.
Yeah.
It was 11:59. Him at Waffle House. I was like, man, back in the day, that would be 4 o'clock in the morning, not 11:59.
Right.
So, anyways, Zeno sent me a message saying, I don't know if I'll be good enough for tomorrow. He was, by the way, obviously, as we're here. But when I saw that, I was like, hey man, I don't know either, man. I had to tough it out and finish watching Eternals and Hawkeye in order to be prepared for the show. I was up until the whopping 1:30 in the morning watching those shows. So you'll be all right. So I did finally knock out the last 2 episodes of Hawkeye last night. And I'm going to say what I said in the previous, before when we talked a little bit about it. Mm-hmm. This one is my favorite Disney Plus show related to the MCU. It really is. Because honestly, to me, this one felt more like a movie than any of the other shows. Even Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it felt more like a movie. Because I'll be honest, Loki to me the entire time felt like a show. It did. It felt like, to me, it felt like a show the whole entire time. WandaVision, up until the very end, it felt like a show. It felt like kind of like, I don't want to say CW because I think a lot of people get issues with the CW.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they should, because CW actually does do really good productions of TV shows. Maybe the storylines are a little suspect and the writing is a little suspect, but their actual productions of them are really good. If you watch The Flash and stuff like that, you see what I mean. And I felt like WandaVision was a little bit more like that, but a little bit more like a TV show, but a little bit like a movie too. You know, kind of a good mixture of it. Like, I guess we could say like it felt like an HBO type of show. Like, you know, how HBO have great productions, but they're still a TV show.
Yeah.
This one to me, after the Falcon and the Winter Soldier did it, this one to me more like one of those, because I think there was that whole, what was fresh on my mind was because of Florence Pugh being on the show, kind of helped me
Black Widow.
Of Black Widow and how that, and to me, honestly, you could watch, I think, not Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, then watch Black Widow, and then watch Hawkeye, and to me, all those will flow perfectly because you have that same feel. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I feel like the show. So I'll tell you right now, based off production alone, Hawkeye is my favorite show thus far for Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think that Florence Pugh elevated the show. That being said, that's not anything against Jeremy Renner or Haley Steinfeld. Is it Steinfeld or Stanfield? I can never remember which one it is.
I always call her Seinfeld, but I know that's wrong.
Haley. So nothing against them because they were great. Their chemistry was great. But the moment Yelena comes in, she's just so much. She just brings so much to it. And I think one of the most creative things I've seen them do with the blip so far was how she got blipped. That opening of episode 5, I think it was, where she goes to the bathroom, she turns on the water to wash her hand, and then her hands just basically like start turning into like sand or dust, and then they start reforming back. But you can see the walls changing colors because they've now put in wallpaper and stuff. Change what is going. That was so freaking well done. And then she goes out and finds out it's been 5 years later. 5 years have passed.
That scene mentally made me feel really anxious. Reason I say that is because I started thinking, I was like, what if that happened for real? Like, I'm pretty sure, and I don't know if Disney will, I don't think they'll ever touch on this, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be surprising if people went insane.
Oh, yeah.
Off that.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like, lose their mind, because that is a real big mind bleep.
Yeah.
Mind blip, you know? So it's like, I thought about that. I was like, yo, It is crazy to think about that, because the thing is, though, remember, Spider-Man when he came back in Endgame, he was explaining to Tony that he's like, "Oh, Doctor Strange came and told us." So people didn't know.
Yeah.
Millions upon millions of people did not know.
Like they didn't realize. Oh, except for that one improvised scene in Infinity War where Tom Holland's like, "I don't feel so good," and like he's scared. Yeah, he's scared, and like he's like, because he knows that he's dying. But the way it was shown for Yelena, maybe that's because Tom Holland had just been in a battle with Thanos, so he understands that there's an imminent threat, and when he sees himself fading away, he's like scared. It's like, oh, the thing happened. Whereas Yelena was nowhere near any of that. So to her, she's like, dust, and then like a second later, oh, I'm fine. But no, you're not. Like years have passed, and I just thought that was so brilliant. It was so well done. I want to see how they top that in other shows. If they do, at this point, I don't think they'll touch on the blip again.
I think it depends. It depends on some shows and stuff like that. I think it depends on what the timeline is. Yeah. I think the good thing about it is they're able to do they're going to be able to keep jumping around these timelines and stuff like that. Because if you think about it, one thing about Shang-Chi is it didn't touch on that. It didn't touch on the blip. It talked about it time, right? Because what did it say? I think old girl was like, "Hey, we live in an age where people can disappear for 5 years," but you didn't feel the aftermath, because obviously the stuff that happened in Shang-Chi is throughout a span of 1,000 years, right? Mostly we're concentrating on a good 30 years for Shang-Chi himself. Mm-hmm. But they never touched on how the blip affected his dad's company, or how the blip affected them. So I think it just depends on the particular medium. I think we'll see a lot less, which I will be very disappointed in, because I really do. Those usually end up being some of the great scenes, or at least the turning point scenes in a lot of these shows. Because that's what in WandaVision, to me, that scene where
Monica
comes back, that was a turning point episode for me. Mm-hmm. Or at least I think for the show in particular, where the show just cooked off.
Well, I think that's
because of that, how that works, or
that was the first episode where they dropped the sitcom format. Like they're still doing the sitcom, but they were also focusing on the outside world now. Yeah. Outside the Westview. Was Westview, yeah. But yeah. Sorry. So back to Hawkeye. I like the show. I thought the stuff with Kingpin was good, though it may have been a little Disney-fied. He definitely had more. His powers were definitely more akin to like what you'd see in the Spider-Man video games and like the Spider-Man animated show, where he's like a force of nature, right? Like he's basically, they rammed him with a car and like he just like.
Especially if you think about the last time we saw him on Daredevil, where he was covered up in blood after fighting Daredevil.
Yeah,
it's kind of like. Yeah, I that's a perfect way of saying it, because I felt with Kingpin a little bit of, I was like, there's a little something, I wouldn't say missing, but different here. Yeah. And I think that's what you said, the Disney-fied part.
Yeah, and even his outfit was, it was comics accurate. Like there's where he had like the Hawaiian shirts with the white coat or whatever. It just kind of looked a little, like when you've watched 3 seasons of Daredevil. And then you see that it doesn't feel like the same guy, but Vincent D'Onofrio is still amazing as Kingpin. Yeah. He will forever, for me, he's my Kingpin. I love Michael Clark Duncan, but Vincent D'Onofrio is Kingpin.
Vincent fits the Kingpin that I've always seen. Yeah, he just did. Even though I'm not gonna lie, in the animated series in the 90s, I did always ask myself, is he light skinned?
Well, I felt like that was a thing they did in the 90s. Like they were like slightly race bend villains.
Yeah, because I'm like, yo, how do you got like both you and your dad got these dreads going on?
Right. And Lex Luthor too. And in Superman the animated series and in Justice League. He was like, was he black? Was he light skinned? I don't know.
Blackface.
Blackface.
Two-Face, Two-Face I thought was black in the show, in the animated series. So, but yeah, I really did enjoy this series. Where do you rank it out of the 4?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier is still my favorite.
Who's one?
Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's still my favorite. I liked Hawkeye. I love that it was a Christmas. It was Christmas themed. It felt the finale. There was a part of the finale that made me think of Die Hard, where Hawkeye is like running through the hotel and he's being shot at, and like by the tracksuit mafias and all that stuff. There was something in there that just made me feel like it seemed like John McClane.
Because in the first Die Hard, and if you haven't seen Die Hard, why not? 1, 2, greatest Christmas movie of all time. But with Die Hard, I think because it's the part where he's running on the top of the skyscraper where it's unfinished.
Yes,
where you get that. I could see that. Now that you say it, I see that homage. Yeah, and then also in Die Hard, remember they're always having that sky view from the top of the skyscraper. They're always looking down into where all the cops were.
Yeah.
And that kind of them looking down to the skating rink kind of gives that good feel too. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if they were paying a little bit of homage to Die Hard.
Yeah, they probably were. I really enjoyed it. I thought Jeremy Renner was great in this. They don't usually give him a lot to do, obviously. He's Hawkeye compared to the other Avengers. But
I feel like his storyline throughout all the entire series has been one of the better storylines.
Yeah.
The most consistent one. Even with Age of Ultron, which I have mentioned before, Age of Ultron has slowly climbed up my ranks in regards to how much I've liked it. Just when I can forget certain parts of it or I remove certain parts of it from thinking about that, I think about Age of Ultron is actually a pretty solid movie. There's just some disconnection that I felt with certain things. But the Hawkeye storyline has always been my favorite in that movie. And I think a lot of people's favorite part in that movie. Yeah. And then moving on from there, going to in Civil War, where he comes in and you realize that he's sacrificing a lot because his family is important to him. And then through him becoming Ronin in Endgame, and then, him, then this now, I've always liked, and I think a lot of it could be credited to Jeremy Renner, but I've always really, really liked Hawkeye's storyline throughout the entire series.
I agree with that. And I never really disliked Age of Ultron. I think more than anything, I, like a lot of Marvel fans, were disappointed with Age of Ultron.
That's really what it is.
Coming off the high of the first Avengers movie. The Age of Ultron was spending way too much time trying to build up like what's to come. And but I thought anything that James Spader did was amazing. But I really agree with the Hawkeye scenes in Age of Ultron being good. It's just when that movie started trying to do, okay, here's Infinity Stones, and here's this, and
here's this love story that came out of nowhere between Hulk and
Natasha. Yeah. So I'll rank this. Actually, I'll put this second. I really like WandaVision.
We're just flipping. We're just gonna flip it because mine is. I'll put this one on top, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier after that.
Yeah. Okay. So Hawkeye was
no. Okay, hold on, real quick. One, what do you think is next for Florence's character and Haley's character?
I think they gotta team up. Like the chemistry was way too good. I think they gotta do more adventures together.
Do you think it's a movie or a show?
Huh?
Do you think it's a movie or a show?
Probably a movie. And you know what I think going forward is gonna happen? It's gonna be hard to see another like Avengers level movie.
Yeah.
What I see happening is sectioning off teams, right? So you have I feel like Florence Pugh and Hawkeye, Lady Hawk. I feel like that they live in the same sort of realm of like Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Right.
So I could see those 4 plus maybe some others having their own story together, their own team up movie type of thing. And then you've got a pocket that's more magical and mystical. We already know that there's a movie, and we'll talk about that because it's the post credits of Spider-Man No Way Home. That magical pocket, you've got Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch and whomever else might fit in there.
Ned. We'll talk about that.
Maybe Ned, yes. So yeah, I think that's what you're gonna have. You're gonna have splinter offs, and then you're gonna obviously Shang-Chi, Wong, because they've got a friendship now doing karaoke together. They might do their own thing. So I think that's where.
And I see that happening too. Them teaming up. I think I wouldn't be surprised if their team up happens in something like in the new show Echo, for Echo, or actually, you know what? Because I don't even think they even started writing, or have they completed writing? I wouldn't be surprised if it does pop up on the Captain America 4, if they pop up in there, just at the very end or something like that. But are you looking forward to the Echo spinoff, or are you kind of like me, where I'm just like,
I'll watch it when it comes out, but I'm not particularly excited. But I hopefully they do something good with it. But,
and do you think, last thing, do you think there's something going to happen with Clint's wife because of the fact that the Watch had the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No, I don't. I know that basically the teasing that she was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
That's what I'm thinking, that it just might be.
But I think it's just, I think it's just a tease. I don't think they're going to go anywhere with it.
Maybe a prequel series where they talk about, they show how they got together. Maybe that little thing.
I think that's basically just Disney giving themselves room to be like, if we want to pursue this, we can. It's like a soft open sort of thing.
Or a fun Easter egg.
Well, yeah, but I think it's an Easter egg that serves the purpose of, if we want to, we can, but I don't think it's like a foregone conclusion that they definitely will target that.
And that actually is a great segue into the conversation that we're about to get into, which is